Hello guys, welcome to Under the Table. We thought that Michael Todd would be the vessel to defeat Levon Saganashvili, but recently he has been on a losing streak, losing to Hermes and most recently Vitali at King of the Table 14. If you are interested to watch the full match, link in the description down below. Well, on the subreddit of Armwrestling, there's a lot of people dissing Michael Todd, saying that the way he arm wrestle is embarrassing, he's not strong, he's not top 5, it's an embarrassment to elite arm wrestling, and that it was not even a close match. I honestly think that those people on the subreddit are not watching the same match as we all are. They probably got the wrong pay-per-view, because that's one of the closest match I ever seen from Michael Todd, especially against someone of the highest caliber, Vitali Lilatin. If you watch the recent Vitali matches, Vitali is on a steamroll. He flash pinned Dzeranov, he flash pinned Artem on the right arm. He is just on another level, and most people, and there's a majority of people that thought Vitali will be dominating Michael Todd. But this was actually a very close match. Michael Todd managed to crack Vitali's wrist pretty convincingly. I think throughout the entire all 3 rounds, Vitali never once got his hand and wrist in a good position. He was forced to do a flop wrist press, and this really demonstrates how strong Michael Todd has become for this match. And I find it unjust for people to disregard him, saying that he's not top 5, he's not strong, it's an embarrassment, he's just using Bonelock. If you think that the Bonelock or just King move is guaranteed win move, go and do it against Vitali, because I'm sure you're gonna break your arm. A lot of people disregard King's move because of the way it looked. Personally, I really like King's move. I feel that it makes the match very exciting. It's a war between both athletes. You see every micro movements making a difference. And I just really like that long brawling matches compared to like a flash pin. And technically, Michael Todd is not breaking the rules, right? He's actually, I mean, if you actually look at WAL arm wrestling, they allow athletes to King's move and go into a straight arm position. Then I would say that yes, that's a bone lock, because your arm is straightened. Technically, your opponent has to break your arm or cause a lot of pain in order for them to pin you. But with the current rule system, athletes are not allowed to drop their shoulder below the pad, so technically their arm are not fully straightened. And there are people saying that because Michael Todd arm cannot fully straighten, that's why he is having like the bone lock. Then explain why he is losing to Hermes, losing to Vitali, getting pressed. Because even though your arm or Michael Todd's arm cannot fully straighten, but with external force being applied, I'm pretty sure the arm will straighten. The reason why Michael Todd does the King move is because he's very comfortable in that position. He's been training and pulling that way for many years. And it's just like UFC, right? Certain people fight in certain ways and have different fighting styles. And Michael Todd is just one of those people in arm wrestling, very outlier kind of arm wrestling style, doing the King's move. And I like this type of athletes because they make the match and like the dynamic very interesting. In fact, I don't think Michael Todd is breaking any rules, and I think he did very well against Vitali Lilatin. We see that he actually cracked the wrist very convincingly, took the wrist, took the center of table in the first round. Although the first round is very messy, there's a lot of resets. There was like a elbow foul, which from the camera angle can't really tell is a camera foul. And also the rule sets is very subjective on where the elbow placement is considered like an elbow foul. And because that match got reset so many times, I feel that the momentum is kind of ruined for Michael Todd. And if you are a hopper, you would think that if the match or the rules were reinforced a little bit better, Michael Todd actually, in another universe, he would have won this match. Because in round 1, he looked so dominant. He got the center of table, he was doing almost like a standard top row to Vitali, he took the entire hand. And unfortunately, when he readjusts his arm, he got an elbow foul from the camera, you can't really tell. Then when it reset, Vitaly went for a flop wrist press, and apparently it wasn't a pin, but the referee called a pin, and it reset. And I feel like this entire match is just so messy. There's so many resets, there's so many confusion and reviews. The referee is just calling pins without being super sure, and a lot of the pins are like in a very gray area. It's like a couple of millimeters difference between a pin and a not pin. If you're a hopper, you'll think that Michael Todd is actually the one that's supposed to win this match. I personally think that he did extremely well, and the reason that he lost is just that he gained so much strength, so much mass and muscle that he just loses out on the endurance. It's like a trade-off between strength and cardio. Perfectly makes sense for him to gain as much strength as possible because you want to stop Vitaly. Because Vitaly is just such a strong human being that your number one priority in arm wrestling, of course, is to gain as much strength as possible, which Michael did. If you see his training, he trains super crazy, super heavy. He trains so consistently, and he gained a lot of strength, and you can see it on the table. It's just that when he got into his King's move, he doesn't have a lot of endurance, and his arm was apparently very palm. Michael Todd in the past, you see that he was able to King's move and hold very comfortably against Camille, against Gennady, athletes that are known for their press. We cannot discredit Vitaly's strength as well, even though he said he didn't train press, but he is still a very strong athlete. He has been training side pressure. He has a very strong finger to clamp down and just press, and not to mention his long leverage. So yeah, I personally think that Michael Todd did great. I think in another universe, he probably won that match. He was so close, man. He was so close. But I am a huge fan of Michael Todd. I think that if every match, he gained so much strength, he progressed so much in terms of strength, and I love to see him compete. And a lot of people discredit him, saying that he's not top 5, he is weak. Are you looking at who he is fighting? He's fighting Hermes. He's fighting Hermes, who is going up against Levon soon. He's fighting Vitaly, who is known to be like someone that can fight Levon, because of his recent match being on a steamroll, just flashing everyone, flashing Artem, flashing Dzeranov and everyone. And Michael Todd is the first person recently to actually stop Vitaly, get center of table, crack Vitaly wrist, and people are not giving Michael Todd the right amount of credit. Because Michael Todd is really strong, and I love to see him continue fighting against strong athletes. Because his progress in arm wrestling is amazing. You know, he has a surgery on his arm, he started working and he started training, fighting against opponents from slightly lower level but still elite, and he climbed his way up to Vitaly, and with every match he gets so much stronger, and I love to see him continue pulling. And I think maybe in a year or two he might potentially be able to give a good match against Levon Saganashvili. So very shortly, Michael Todd will be facing Georgiy Dzeranov at the next East vs West. So a mutual opponent that both of them had was Vitaly Lilatin. Vitaly absolutely destroyed Dzeranov, and on the other hand, Vitaly had a war with Michael Todd. Personally, I think that Michael Todd is gonna absolutely dominate Dzeranov. Dzeranov, if you watch his match, he's very cup dominant. He always initiate with sort of like a cup. I think that it will not work well against Michael Todd, especially with Michael Todd having such a strong back pressure and pronation. He's just gonna crack Dzeranov wrist, and we've seen how strong Michael Todd is against Vitaly. So I think that Michael Todd will absolutely dominate Georgiy Dzeranov. But who do you think will win this match? Let me know in the comment down below. If you're enjoying this video, subscribe. More videos of arm wrestling soon.